Good as far as,
Yeah.
okay.
Perfect.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Chamber Chat. I am Dorothy Stringer. I am your hostess for our little discussion, and I'm also the executive director of the Universal City North Hollywood Chamber of Commerce. And today, we've got an interesting young man here. He has a variety of different talents, which we'll get into in a second, but he's here to talk about his business. He's one of our newest members of the chamber, and I'm real proud to have him aboard. He's done, just in the short time that he's been with the chamber, he's done a lot of things for the chamber. He's very generous with his time in helping us, so I'm sure he's going to be that kind of businessman for your businesses. He owns a business called Social Buzzin, and his name is Marlon Aquino. Hi, Marlon.
Hello, hi guys. How's everyone doing? Thank you so much for having me here today.
Well, thank you for joining us. So let's talk a little bit to first intro the segment. What is Social Buzzin? What is that business?
Social Buzzin is a social media marketing agency that leverages the attention on social media to turn engagement into sales.
Okay, so in English, if I'm a business owner, what are you going to do for me?
So yeah, I mean, we run ads for businesses on social media to capitalize the attention that's on there to hopefully bring them back to your website or bring them back to a sales page, or for most brick and mortar businesses, get that foot traffic in the door.
Okay, and so what brought you to California? You've been here for a little while now, right?
Yeah, I've been out here for about 7 years now. My parents migrated from Dominican Republic when I was really young, moved to New York City, from there moved to Florida. And when I finished college, I decided I was going to pursue acting out here in Los Angeles, which is what brought me out here.
Mm-hmm. And have you been pursuing it?
Yes, actually gone very well. I can say that I've been on a couple shows. Currently just finished recording Lucifer, which is on Netflix, so you can actually catch that most recent season now. So, I'm pretty busy on there as well, but, I'm very passionate about entrepreneurship and pretty much utilizing all the areas of expertise in my life. So, yeah.
So how did you become an expert in social media? What drew you to that particular field?
Well, I, had a part-time at AT&T working as a business expert, where I would deal with businesses that, wanted to bring their business online, either through, so, their wireless companies for those with 50 or more lines. So, what I realized is that there were a lot of things that were missing and business owners that were looking, to, just catch the attention. They didn't know exactly how to capture the attention that was on social media, I saw there was a gap there, and it was what actually motivated me to fill the gap, because a lot of the business owners are 40s, 50s, and above, and social media is something that actually just came out maybe 10 years ago,
Right.
if that. So it's a lot of shady area that they don't know how to really understand. So that's where I come in to actually give them voice and some clarity.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you mentioned earlier that you're very passionate about entrepreneurship. What is it about your makeup that makes you want to own a business rather than be a businessman, be in a business?
I'd have to say that actually begins back take that from my parents. My father, like I said, we come from Dominican Republic. We had nothing when we started out. I think actually one of the first jobs my grandfather had was cleaning toilets. So, just to see the humble beginnings that our family had to the stride that my father did, where, he was selling cars for 10 years. From there, he started his own mortgage business in Florida. From there, he started doing real estate. When things started going bad, he hopped into another business. He's currently he's an owner and director of a preschool/kindergarten in Tampa, Florida. So I've seen the capabilities that us humans have, as far as, creating the life that we want. And, of course, no place like America allows us to have the opportunities that we have here to make things happen in a short amount of time, really, because in other places it could take some people years or a lifetime to do, what we can do here in half the time in the U.S. So, I've seen what the power of the American dream.
And you want to be a part of that dream.
Oh, yes, of course. I've seen it, with my own eyes.
Yeah, your dad was a great inspiration to you. That's
Yeah.
amazing that he did all of those things.
Yeah, no, it's one of the main things. He also, I know you're also an artist. He played the saxophone in the past, so he's also done a number of things, and it only showed me that you don't have to limit yourself to one thing. If
Right.
you're passionate about more than one, you can find a way to make everything work together. And essentially, there's people out there that just need our help, and the best thing we could do is how we, there's a quote that I like. It's how we make people feel that stays with them, not what we say.
That's right.
So
That's right. Well, I'm sure you can tell already why this chamber loves Marlon. He's just a very passionate young man. He's very real. And we just adopted him. He's like our son now. We've no offense to Dad, no offense to Dad Aquino, but we sort of adopted Marlon. So let's talk a little bit. So I mentioned earlier, let's say that I own a business. Now we have two schools of thought because I do a lot of social media for our businesses in the chamber. That's kind of why Marlon and I sort of clinched and hooked up, because we talk the same language.
Yeah.
So I would say that there's two schools of thought for our businesses in the chamber. There are some that think that they've got a handle on their social media, but you and I both know that it's very difficult to drive your business and do social media, and it's very hard to wear all those different hats. And social media almost is a 9-to-5 job on its own. Especially if you're doing Twitter and all those other things. So let's say your first client walks out, or potential client walks up and says, yeah, well, I'm doing social media for my business, and I don't really see where I would have to pay extra money to hire you. Your response would be?
Well, if that's the case, for some of the business owners that are posting once a day on Facebook, they're not really keeping in mind the times that they're posting, keeping in mind when is it that most of their users are on the actual platforms, or which one. So they could be posting on Facebook, not knowing that maybe their demographics, if it's younger, is possibly on Instagram or Snapchat and not Facebook, or vice versa. So one of the things that I tell business owners is that the way that the algorithm works with these social media platforms is that you could have 1,000 followers, but the organic reach that Instagram or Facebook gives you is maybe 6%. So that means you're maybe reaching maybe a handful of people, really. So without paid advertising, you won't even get to reach your full followers. Not only that, but other new ones that maybe don't know of your business in your local area. So it's very important to to not just rely on the organic and the free stuff, but to complement that with some paid advertising to reach your full capacity, and not only that, reach newer people that would also be interested in your product or service.
And you're also a content creator, so what would you say about, do you think, and this isn't to put the business owners down, I mean, God business owners down, God bless all of you that are trying, I mean, you should at least try, but without really understanding what kind of content will work on a post, would you say that most are just sort of wasting their time a little bit?
Oh, certainly, 110%, because it actually works against you when you're just posting content that your audience doesn't like. So if you're posting even to your 200 followers and you're posting something that isn't geared to what they want to see, and if you're just selling to them and you're not educating or doing some form of entertainment for them, then you're going to lose them. And what actually ends up happening is that the algorithm works against you, and it starts showing your posts to less and less people in your following, to a point where it's almost like you don't even exist on the platform. So it's really extremely important for them to really focus on content. And a lot of times it really is about just honing in on what are the pain points, what are the desires that your customers are looking for, what are their benefits. It's not always about the feature or the product itself, but more about how are these our products and services making the lives better of the people who we're trying to reach.
Well, okay, so I'm business owner Jay, who says, well, but I understand that, so I'm posting content about let's say I'm a dentist. I'm posting content about keeping your smile bright and coming in for your cleanings. What's wrong with that content?
Well, it's not if you're if you're presenting in a way where you're setting up the place for the environment of the location that you're at. So I don't know, I remember being young, I hated going to the dentist's office, the idea of someone going into my mouth. So the amazing thing about, for example, video, when you're creating content in the video form, is it allows for people to actually see the nurturing factor that goes into some of these dentists, how they take care of you, the patient, to make you feel comfortable and happy. And nothing is going to compare to, the visualization of seeing someone nurture you. Oh man, that person seems like he really cares for that person. He's gentle, he's taking care of them, and a lot of that, speaks for itself. If you're just putting, let's say, a picture of a person, of just you and your staff, that's great. But it's gonna, if you have a follower, they're gonna keep scrolling through the feed and not stop. But if maybe, let's say, you're putting a video of a before and after, even the image of before and after will be more effective than just posting a picture of you and your employees,
Mm-hmm.
which is what most businesses do.
Mm-hmm.
They're always either selling some kind of promotion or some kind of sale, and not, again, all these other factors that go in about at least trust and credibility, which is like, well, when I go into a doctor's office, I want to feel taken care of. I want to feel that they have my best interest. So if you're creating content that is showing that, demonstrating that to, people that don't know of your business, I always say, their guard is gonna drop, and it's just gonna make it a lot more comfortable for me to want to go into your practice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to be utilizing, content as far as video, the right kind of video. And of course, social media has all these other great platforms, like in Instagram, you could do live. You can go live on Facebook as well. And that's been very effective for dentists, because nothing is better than seeing, an actual patient in there happy, smiling, seeing, like I said, the way they're getting taken care of, the nurturing that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people call immediately and start booking appointments with their dentist. So, utilizing stuff like that is really it's going to make you stand out from the crowd.
And you also have a way that you would be able to set up their social media so that they can capture leads right from their social media,
Yeah.
right? You'd be able to set that up for them
Yeah,
as well.
right from within Facebook. If you have a website, which is everybody, you don't have a website, that's a big problem already, because most businesses aren't going to be taken serious if you don't have a website.
Right.
And Facebook allows you to put in, a code on the back end of the website, which allows you to track all your visitors. And of course, that means that it allows you to keep following up with those people that have shown some kind of interest in your business. And Facebook right now is fantastic for dentist office, which you were just speaking, real estate agents, any business really needing leads, because they have an objective there for lead generations, where it allows you, to put an offer out there to people, and it automatically populates all of their information. All they have to do is click the submit button, and you already have their information, which allows you to follow up with them later on. And there's no better way to really stay in front of people than utilizing certain objectives like that on Instagram, which is the lead generation. So,
And talk a little bit about the right social media for your business. For example, if you are a very visual business, maybe Instagram and Facebook would be the better platform for you. But let's say that, like, I used to have a client who was a security specialist. So, he wasn't very visual. So what social media would have been best for him?
So yeah, for him specifically, if he's in security, then of course, Instagram is definitely not the platform, because the demographics on Instagram are of a much younger demographic who probably don't care as much as for security as someone, that's a little older than, let's say. So maybe someone in the 30 and above might care more about security, someone moving into their homes. So in that case, the platform for you is going to be Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
If you're posting on Instagram, you're going to not just waste money, but you're going to waste energy and time. So it's about doing the proper research. Right now, there's a lot of women in Pinterest as well. So if your business really geared towards targeting women of really any age, you're going to find a lot of them there. If you're targeting millennials and, a lot of the younger teens, you're going to find them on Snapchat. So if your business, it's maybe promoting some kind of game or anything like that, that's where you want to advertise. And those platforms are extremely cheap to advertise in, as opposed to, trying to utilize PPC like Google. And of course, I think the one thing that I try to get to all my business clients into right now is YouTube, because more people are watching YouTube these days. Than they're watching TV. And right now, again, it's one of the most inexpensive platforms to really advertise and get your business brand awareness to go up. Because if you don't get in front of people, no one's going to know of your business. And the problem with traditional forms of advertising like billboards and TV is that no one's really paying attention to those. If you're driving on the streets and there's a billboard, you're driving past it. You're watching TV and you're watching a show, and the commercials come on, you're pausing and you're doing something else until the commercials are over. So on social media, everyone's on their phone, whether they're at work or not at work, they're stuck in traffic. Most of the time,
they shouldn't be on their phone if
they
they're in their car,
shouldn't be, right?
but...
They shouldn't be, but it happens, and I've seen it. So it just allows an opportunity for businesses to really just get in front of the eyes of their potential clients and customers.
Correct. Yeah. Well, so you can tell we're having a very interesting conversation here, and I want to go to break, but before I do, I just want to say you mentioned YouTube. It's free to get your own YouTube channel.
Yes,
it's absolutely free, and most social media is it's far less expensive than traditional advertising. Even if you hire somebody like Marlon and you pay a little bit for advertising on social media, if you have ever paid for any type of marketing at all, social media is the least expensive of any type of marketing. I just want to put that out there, and if you don't have your own YouTube channel, you should.
It's a must.
It's a must. It's an absolute must. And then, Marlon would be the guy to show you how to use it. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we're going to expose Marlon in a bit. We're going to expose Marlon to the community in about a week. We're going to talk a little bit about that when we come back, but right now we're going to break. LA Digital makes this all happen for us, and we want them to get their props. So we're going to break and have a little bit of fun with our advertisers, and then we'll be right back.
Very nice. All right, 17 minutes.
All right, no pressure.
Okay, we are back with Marlon Aquino, the social media guru, owner of Social Buzzin. We left and we were talking about why is YouTube so important. Marlon, why don't you take it from there?
Well, YouTube, I would say we were just talking about where your customers are. If they're on Instagram, what demographics. Everyone's on YouTube. Young people, old people, everyone's using YouTube because everyone's looking either for information about how to do something,
like a tutorial,
or tutorials, reviews. It's the great place to be there for any kind of business, even for entrepreneurs just starting out. It's a great place to start positioning yourself as a leader in the market, giving out information, educating your customers about why they should go to you and not to someone else. And not only that, but you don't have to pay for it. You could just put up a video and people are automatically searching for, the queries that you're, for the videos that you're making about. So it's definitely something that I would compliment your business to do YouTube, regardless of what other platform you're using. So if your audience is on Instagram, you're going to benefit by also leveraging YouTube. If your audience is on Facebook, you're going to win big by leveraging YouTube. So it's certainly that I definitely want to say that's a given. You gotta do YouTube. Yeah,
absolutely. And so we were talking about before the break, we were talking about two schools of business owners that I know you're going to encounter in North Hollywood and probably universally, but I just know about this community. So we were talking about the business owners that think that they know how to post. Now we're going to talk about the business owners that have absolutely no clue and are actually intimidated by social media and, kind of do the whole ostrich head in the sand thing. It intimidates me too much, so I don't even want to think about it. I'm just going to, put an ad in
Groupon or something.
Yeah, Groupon. So what shall we say to those business owners, Marlon?
I'm honest. I tell them, yes, it is. It is frustrating trying to deal with social media because there's a lot that goes into it, like vanity metrics, right? Likes doesn't turn into sales, or comments don't necessarily turn into sales. So it really is about having a overall strategic plan. And I tell most businesses that those succeeding brands and bigger corporations are leveraging every kind of attention possible, whether it's blogs on their website and then turning that blog into a podcast, then making a video and turning that video on YouTube into a podcast, and then turning that into different formats so they can split in all the different platforms. It becomes time consuming. And I understand that most businesses don't have the time for that. And when you're trying to do so many other things and you start spreading yourself thin, it doesn't work out for you. So then what ends up happening, people say, well, I tried Facebook ads and it didn't work for me. Well, what exactly have you done? What were the strategies that you did? What was your cost per click, let's say? What was your click-through rate? And people say, well, I don't know what that is. And I go, well, that might be the reason why your ads are not succeeding. You're not seeing the return on your investment that other businesses are seeing, because it is working for businesses. So
or else they wouldn't have it.
they wouldn't do it. Facebook has grown to 2 billion users right now, and I think they have over close to 6 million advertisers on there. So people are buying. Advertising on these platforms is working. What you don't want to do is spread yourself thin and try to take it upon yourself if that's not your expertise, which is where I come in.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times businesses are more concerned with what it is that they're going to get out of their investment.
Of course.
Which, like any business or any business owner, that's a great question to ask. But when it comes to marketing, there's only so much that you can guarantee someone.
Well, there are no guarantees.
There are no guarantees, right? I mean, I do say there is one guarantee, and that is that you're going to get in front of people that don't know of your business and now will.
With social media for sure.
With social media.
Traditional marketing, you
couldn't.
couldn't guarantee that either.
At all.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's a barber shop that I've been recently working with that's location is kind of hidden. No one really knows of them. So, for them, social media is going to be huge in the game, because if no one knows about their location, well, they want to start in their neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And Facebook allows you to geo-target people within a certain mile radius of your business location, which is a huge deal when you're looking to get business in the door today. Mm-hmm. So if you put an ad on Facebook for, let's say, that barber shop, and they're running an ad with a special for tomorrow or this time this week, you're going to have appointments booking the next couple of days, filling up those seats. But if you don't even do that because you're afraid of investing that money into social media, well, then you're doing yourself worse, because now you have no one. You're depending on word of mouth. And if you're a new business in a location, word of mouth or referrals are going to be hard to come by unless we're talking to your friends and family members.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go back to YouTube for a minute.
Yeah.
So you and I have had many discussions, and one of our early discussions, we talked about the basics of social media, like Social Media 101, which when we expose Marla next week, we're going to talk about this, which starts off with, if you're assigned to read a novel in school, and it's just like cover to cover, and it's this big thick book, you roll your eyes, because it's probably it could be the best written novel, but it's going to be a very slow read, because it's just words.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very a whole mass of words. But if the novel had pictures, it'd be a little bit of an easier read. Mm-hmm. And for goodness sake, if you could get the novel on video and not read it at all, just look at the video, that's the way to go. Yeah. And that's how social media works. If you're going to post, at least post with a picture. And if you can do a video, by all means do a video. But like we were talking earlier, don't just post a picture. You have to know what you're posting. It has to be relevant. Those algorithms will kill you.
Yeah, not only that, but you want to know exactly what your objective is by posting.
Right.
Is it to get someone, to click on your only link on Instagram to get them to go to your website? Is it for them to make a phone call? Is it for them to book an appointment at your location? You have to know what it is, that your angle is, so that when you're posting, you're doing it in a strategic form where then you're going to start seeing results.
There
But if
always has to be an
But if you're
ask.
posting on your business like you do on your personal business, that don't expect to see any actual results on social media, which is
Right.
what tends to happen. But one thing that I tell businesses about social media is a couple things, which is, we're all concerned with profits. Profits only comes out of sales, people buying more, or and people buying more frequently. People only do that when their trust on the business that they're dealing with goes up. So the more that you are in front of your ideal customers, even though they're not ready to buy today, whenever they are, if you stay on top of mind, whenever they are ready, they're gonna go to you. Which is why I think brands like Apple, Coca-Cola, McDonald's are so big. Even though these are big, huge corporations that could probably do without advertising because we know of them already, they don't. They advertise more and spend more money than anything on advertising because it's about staying fresh in the minds of your prospects.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not doing that, and you're just kind of depending on your customers to go, tell their family and friends with how hectic and chaotic our own personal lives can be, you're kind of taking a gamble. It's like going to Vegas and playing the Russian roulette. I don't know about you, but that's not the way I like to run my business. So I tend to kind of want to have a plan set in place
Mm-hmm.
to actually execute. So once you start focusing on creating an omnipresence on social media, selling becomes a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
People become advocates of your business because you're not just selling to them. They're seeing the value that you have and how much, how you're making their lives better.
Right. And that's all so super important. And, I don't care if you're a big corporation like Coke or a small business, it's very important to have a face to your business. A big business that, I think of Jack in the Box, or the Colonel with
Mm-hmm.
Colonel Sanders. And so in the small business category, listen, business owners, you are the face of your business. And so, if you're shy about making a video or whatever, get over it.
Yeah.
Get over it, because that is really that presence that Marlon is talking about. You becoming the face of your business, you developing a trust factor with your potential customer. Before they walk in the door, they already know who you are. I mean, what is better than that?
Yeah. And I've had clients that are nervous about being in front of the camera, but with my experience as an actor, there are techniques that I help them with. There are scripts that I give them. But funny enough, once they've had a shot at doing 1 or 2, 3 videos, they take flight, and it becomes very easy for them. Before you know it, I'm going, hey, wait, you don't even really need me anymore. You're doing so well in front of the camera, and it really surprises them. And it's one thing that I encourage them. It's like, hey, if it scares you, it's probably the direction you need to go in.
Right.
Always.
Yes. Yes, because anything that's fear driven, that means you're growing.
Yeah.
That means you're growing.
Yeah.
So
and it's important these days because with the noise in all the markets, really, whether you're in relationship or you're in health or you're in wealth, one of the things that you got to be thinking about is your personal branding, which I think is going to be a huge thing coming up. With all the noise, it's really like, well, who do I go to? Because there's tons of options. There's not just the one dentist that you can go to. There's not just the one barbershop. There's not just the one. So it's like, how do I pick one? Well, again, it's the business that's offered, the most value, that's, done the most job at, staying relevant in front of their customers' eyes. So, positioning is a big deal. It's just like, hey, well, I stand apart from the rest of, the people in my industry.
Absolutely.
I'm not just a generalist. I'm a specialist,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you kind of want to be, because people always look to work with the best.
The best and the most trustworthy.
And the most trustworthy. That's
I
number
think
one.
I think that's
That's number
I
one.
mean, that's always been number one, but I think
Yeah.
these days it's super duper number one, because it's very hard to find trustworthy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
in social media as well, when you're really proud about the work and the service that you're providing to your customers, and that is demonstrated on social media, I mean, people automatically are going to go on there and just comment and say, how do I join? How do I come in? How can I be this person, that looks happy, with the result that they've gotten with this organization? And that's really what it's all about.
Exactly. So I've been teasing about exposing Marlon. So in the time that we have left, we want to talk about we're chock full of events. This chamber is this year. But we have one coming up relatively soon, a week from tomorrow,
Yeah.
June 27th. We are having a lunch and learn. Now, I had been approached by several chamber members over the last several years about doing a social media event, because I'm somewhat knowledgeable in it myself, and so I kept kind of, oh, okay, we'll do it. And then Marlon walked in the door, and I got to know him, and I thought, now's the time to do it, because between what I know and what he knows, and then we have another gentleman who's going to be joining us and talking about how important video is.
Yeah.
He calls it your video business card.
Yeah.
His name is Evan Galliano. And so the three of us together, produce one tremendous force in social media education. So we're having a lunch and learn, right? And Marlon actually suggested the area, the place that we're having it. It's called Muddle and Twist.
It's a restaurant called Muddle and Twist.
And I guess Marlon, you're a frequenter in there. You've gone in there several times.
It is. It's a new business in the North Hollywood area. It's a great restaurant. I believe they serve barbecue and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And they're generous enough to offer those that do come a 10% discount on the food and drinks, as well as there will be happy hour. So just saying.
Well, but we don't want you to partake in that happy hour until after we've educated you.
Of course.
In our little lunch and learn that's between 12 and 2. On June 27th at Muddle and Twist. We have information on our Facebook page. And so basically in that 2 hours, Marlon, and Evan are each going to take a half an hour. And we're going to talk about different aspects of social media. And then the last half hour, we're going to open up to Q&A.
Yeah.
And of course, Marlon and Evan will be available afterwards if people want to sit down with them and talk to them and hire them. But if you're absolutely insistent on trying your social media on your own to start, we're going to give you basics that will really help. I guarantee you, no matter what you're doing now, it's going to help for make it better.
Yeah, it's going to give it a lift.
But ultimately, I really would suggest. I have my own, aside from the chamber, I have my own nonprofits, and I have a couple of them, and I don't even do my own social media for them. 'Cause I don't have the time, between working, doing the chamber and my entertainment and the two nonprofits that I help.
You're taking care of everyone but yourself.
Right, and I would rather have somebody like Marlon who can drive that for me while I drive the businesses
Sure.
and do what I need to do. So I would really, really, really suggest that you come to this lunch and learn,
Yeah.
get to know Marlon, get to know Evan, and you will see. I don't want to corner you into pricing, because of course pricing varies depending on what people are doing. But would you say, and don't listen to this podcast and go, of course he's going to say it's relatively inexpensive. You guys know me by now. I'm not going to say it if it's not true. Would you say, Marlon, that your fees are relatively inexpensive considering?
It really is. If you guys look into all the agencies right now with all the overhead that they have, they've got employees that they've got to, cut off. They've got softwares and devices. Right now, it's just, it's just me, So right now, I'm currently looking to take possibly no more than 10 clients. I currently am working with 4. So I've got, space for just a couple more that I'm going to pick up. And what I'm going to be doing is running a special for all member of the Chamber of Commerce. So, for anyone that reaches out to me, I'll be speaking about all the different deals that I have for those Chamber of Commerce members.
Okay, great. All right. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this as much as I have. What's interesting about Marlon, he spent a lot of time, in the short time that I've known him, he spent quite a lot of time in the office. And I was a little worried about doing the podcast with you today, because I thought, okay, well, how do I make it fresh? But every time I'm with you, I learn something new. So,
Thank you. No,
so
it's
you're
mutual. It's mutual.
well.
trust me.
I don't know if that's good, but
Yeah. No.
but I want to thank you for coming in. I know you're a busy guy, and I
Thanks for
appreciate you
having me.
coming in. And we hope that a bunch of people. I don't know if this podcast is going to air by next week. Probably not. But if you guys have been to our Lunch and Learn next week and are hearing this podcast now, and you haven't contacted Marlon yet, Marlon, how can they get a hold of you?
So yeah, you can reach me on my Instagram page. It's Aquino Marlon. That's AQUINO MARLON. So it's just my full name, Marlon Aquino. And you can also go to my website at socialbuzzin.com. That's SOSIALB as in boy UZZN.
Okay.
So no IN on that buzzin, just buzzin like BUZZN. So.
And let's say that they just absolutely have no way to